Hey guys, it's Dr. Kalie Judge with Judge Family Chiropractic. I'm here on episode number 3 of Tea Time, and I have a super special guest with me here today, and I can't wait to introduce you to her. She is excited. She's coming up all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. This is Dr. Cassie Major. Cassie, go ahead and say hi to these guys.
Hi, everybody. I'm excited to be on this with you guys.
We have been, we've known each other for a long time. We'll go into that in a little bit, but I thank you for kind of rearranging your schedule to get on here with these guys today. You've been practicing in Nashville for about 3 years, and you practice with your husband, Dr. Michael, who's also another amazing chiropractor, and you guys have an incredible Maximize Living Health Center down in Nashville, Tennessee, and you've just been serving the masses and just seeing people just be set free from diseases and set free from all sorts of things. So do you have anything you want to just kind of share maybe to your patients that are watching or to your friends and family there too?
I'm just excited that this is happening. I love the videos that you and your brother post, and it's such an inspiration for people, not only just your patients, but the entire community of people that want to be healthy and that want to be well. So if I were to say anything to my patients right now, it would be one day at a time, one step at a time, continue to build health inside of your body. Share these videos that Dr. Kalie and her brother do. It's inspired us. Dr. Michael and I have been talking about it for a long time to do these videos, so then that way you can know exactly what health it looks like, how we live, and just continuing to do that. And for everybody else, just get excited because today's topic's pretty awesome.
It is so awesome. We have some personal stories that we're going to be able to share with you guys. Hey, we are live on Facebook, so we want some comments. We want some shares. We want some likes. We want to see the hearts go across the screen there. Share this with people because this topic, we're talking about gut health and skin problems today. And those two are so closely related. And there's some personal stuff that we've gone through as well that we want to share with you guys and give you some tips and some strategies on how to overcome that stuff. We've got Chelsea that says she's got 2 of her favorite ladies on here, and we've got Vito who said woot woot. He's excited for this. And so we just want you guys to be actively engaged in this. If you have questions at all at any time through this whole entire process, just go ahead and shoot it on the comments. I can see them pop up as we go, and then we're just gonna dive in and go into everything. I want to start with my story and why I believe that gut health is so very important, and that starts about 6 years ago, almost to the day. I received a text message from my mom who had been dealing with some major digestive issues. She was dealing with just some rashes and some skin issues started to come up underneath her chin. Her eyes got puffy. There was rashes under her armpits. A certain level of borderline Crohn's, colitis, irritable bowel syndrome. We're not really sure what the official title is, but so it's about 6 years ago, I got a text message from her with pictures of her face and her saying that she was scared. And rewind back to November of the year just before, this is when the symptoms started going on. So she'd been dealing with this for about 9 years, and it took her 9 years to finally say, I'm scared, I don't know what to do, please help me. And so that's when her misery really turned into my mission to figure out what was going on. And that's when I sent her into the Lions, and I sent her over to the urgent care right down the street here from the office, mainly because I wanted to get her blood work. I wanted to see exactly what was going on, or what I thought, because at that point I didn't know too much about blood work or what we were actually looking at, you know. So this sent me down a tailspin into the rabbit hole of trying to figure out what was going on, because what happened was she had spent a couple hours in that urgent care waiting for the doctor to take care of her, and then ended up spending a couple of $1,000s on the blood work. And the results that came back were incredible, because what happened was everything came back completely normal, as if nothing was even wrong. And so obviously we can see the symptoms, we can see what her body was expressing. And so that turned into we didn't really find an answer until March of that following year. And we'll go into that a little bit too. But that really just anchored me into the fact of how important we have to honor our body's symptoms, right? So many people want to just cover up the symptom, but really we have to understand and know that when your body starts expressing symptoms, that's just a warning sign for what's happening even deeper. So Cassie, can you speak on a little bit of, people, let's talk about like acne, right? Or skin rashes or psoriasis or things like that, chronic skin irritations that people just deal with all the time. And most people's solution is to go out and get something to put on topically, something that they can put on to try to get it to go away or cover up. So can you just kind of speak on why the gut is so linked to skin issues?
Yeah, my story is very similar to that. I had I started to develop this rash around my mouth, and thankfully you guys had already started figuring out what was going on with your mom and telling me to look into my gut. But the biggest thing is because there is a direct connection from your brain to your stomach, your intestines, and your skin. So your digestive system is a detox organ as well on top of it. So what you're going to put inside of your body matters, because it's either going to be absorbed by your body and create healthy cells, healthy hair, healthy skin, all of that. It's going to create just that health inside of your body that you need, because it comes from the inside. So it does matter with what we put inside, because if your body's not going to create health with it, it has to go somewhere else. So it's either going to go out or it's going to leak. We're going to talk about leaky gut too. Like, it'll leak through your digestive system and then start coming out of your skin. And so most of the time we think, well, there's something on my skin, so I should just get rid of it. And we don't actually look to what's causing it. And I think that's what the medical community just forgets a lot of times, is that you're not getting to the cause. We're just continuing to cover things up and not looking at what's really truly going on the inside.
Yeah. So you're gonna find a similarity through these videos that we do, is getting to the root cause, and that's really focusing on why is that coming up? Your body's smart. It's doing things for a purpose. You just got to figure out why. Another thing is I think we've talked about on every single video that we've done so far, Dr. James and myself, about how your skin is your largest organ, and it's your largest detoxing organ. And so, like, things like BO and acne and skin rashes or whatever else comes up, that's all signs that there's something going on in your gut that you've got to get to the root cause of, because otherwise you're going to just be battling that for the rest of your life. And that's not something that we want to be battling, because it's hard business to come back from. And I've been listening to podcasts and stuff over the last couple of weeks on gut health and things like that. And they're saying that this can go back 4 generations, that you're carrying things that your mom's mom did with you, and your body just isn't able to heal. So most often when I think about like people that go onto a diet or a cleanse, first of all, they're doing it for cosmetic reasons, because they want to fit into a bathing suit for a vacation, or like look good for a photo shoot, or whatever it is. We've got to understand that it's not just about that. It's not getting healthy is not about weight loss. Getting healthy is about healing your insides and allowing your body to function at its optimal potential. You got anything to add to that?
Yeah. It's not going to be easy to really, it's a lot easier to go and get a topical cream that will get rid of it in that moment, but it's like you stop doing the topical cream and you no longer use it, it's always going to come back. But it's not easy to heal your belly from the inside, because there's so many moving parts that can be looked at when it comes to the health of your gut. So just know, and there's frustration that can happen. And when you are frustrated, continue to dig in, continue to just find the causes and get your body healthy and healing from the inside. And don't just result to a topical cream because it just gets rid of it instantly.
And one thing too, I think what happens is that people fall victim, and it doesn't work in the first 2 weeks, so it's not going to ever work. And so we just want this like really quick answer. And if we don't get that quick answer, then it's like, oh, that's not working, on to the next thing, or I'll just go take a medication. And that's just not how we live, and nor how it was when we grew up. We didn't have all 5 essentials figured out, but one thing that we did have figured out is that we never took a medication. We always got adjusted. It wasn't until about 10 years ago that we really started focusing on food, and really in the last 6 years, 5-6 years of just like intentional what's happening with our food system. And I'm hearing that just the pesticides that they're putting on our food system is just damaging and destroying it. So people like to mock people who eat organic food, and they think they're snobby and all this stuff. But really the reality is that you've got to look for quality nutrients and quality food. For my mom's story, and even for you, this is part of your story too, and really all of us, we ended up doing specific blood work and urine analysis to figure out exactly what she was deficient in or what she was toxic in. And we still do that here in the office for our patients, and we see incredible results because I like to call it like seeing like the subluxation of the cell. Like we take x-rays of our patients to look for the subluxation on their spines. So we get to see blood work and urine analysis to really like look on the inside of a cell to see exactly what's going on, and then go from there. And what we ended up doing was we ended up doing a raw food diet. It was a 2-week challenge just to see what was going on. We ended up doing that for 9 months straight because after 3 days, all of my mom's symptoms went completely away, and they've never come back. And that right there sent me into like, what just happened? Because we have been doing this type of diet, this type of lifestyle. I'm not going to name the names because those may be good for somebody, but there's always a different level for everybody. And I don't believe that there's one specific route that every single person on earth can take. And I think we have to be wise in teaching our patients this and in teaching our community this. So anything you got there for that?
Maybe we can move into, so what are some of the reasons that your gut would be kind of trashed anyway? Like how does it become like unhealthy? Yeah. And for me, and I can kind of lead into my story of like how this all happened. Mine, I did the same exact thing because I started to develop just these pimple-like things, but it would pus like around my mouth, and then it would get dry. And it was gross. It was awful. And I'm like, I'm a doctor, like I'm a chiropractor, and I have all of these health issues coming out of my face because I know just how frustrating it is, and it messes with your self-confidence and all of that stuff. So I remember when this all started to happen, and I'm like, Kalie, what do I need to do? What is happening? And I did the same exact stuff, the max metabolics, and it helped to do a blood and a urine analysis to see what was going on. And I found out that I was full of yeast. Candida. Yep. And for some of you that don't know what that is, it's a yeast overgrowth in your belly. And what happens, like some of the symptoms that I was experiencing, and I have to go back there, but like my butt itched and my ears itched, like any orifice, there was just an itchiness. And I was like,
Cassie is that, yeah, you're back. Okay. I was like, about Dr. Cassie is that she is completely vulnerable. And these stories are going to be what help you get through your health symptoms, because you are not the only one. And there's somebody out there that's dealing with it. So even if you think it's weird, it's a symptom, and it's got to be talked about, right? It's got to be seen. So you got cut off on the itchy parts. If you want to.
So candida, one of the symptoms of candida overgrowth in the body is that wherever there is an orifice or a hole, like your ears, like mine was mainly like in my ear canals, where I felt like I always had to use a Q-tip to just get it out because it would itch, just feel like there was always something in there. And then the other part was that my butt itched. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. And then my face and
Wait, okay. It does not want you to tell that story, so skip that part.
Okay, so
how did you take care of Candida once you found out what it was?
The first thing that I did was an essential oil capsule cleanse of my body. So first what I did was I assessed my nutrition. So I had to get rid of dairy. I had to get rid of all sugar and anything that turned into sugar. And then also looking and making sure that I had no processed foods whatsoever in my diet at all. That was the main thing that I looked at.
So let's talk about processed foods and how damaging those really are for our bodies. Real quick before we do that, we just want to ask you to like and share this and put comments in there if you love. Back on track here, and one thing that we really just want to focus on is what it takes to allow your body to start healing, and that's focusing on nutrition and understanding that it's not about what looks good on a box. It's about real food, whole food, nutrients and ingredients. And I think that's what most people are missing when we look at this right now is that we're not understanding how important food is. And I'm going to get into some other stuff on how the body heals right at the tail end of this. But I think this is the mainstream stuff that, if I go to eat fast food real quick, it's not going to affect me. And what we know is that your decisions today are directly affecting the you 20 years from now. And so if you continue to make these decisions over the next 20 years, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have deteriorating health and you're going to end up in a hospital bed somewhere. So we want to stop that process from happening. And a lot of that comes from your mindset and understanding and knowing that you can do this and that you can overcome this stuff. So Cassie, you have anything you want to add with that there?
No. Just, you're right on. I got cut off, so I wasn't sure exactly what you said.
So a couple things that when it comes to leaky gut and gut issues that people may not understand are associated with gut problems. Something like allergies, asthma, even autism, depression, anxiety. We've got autoimmune system, eczema, psoriasis, irritable bowel syndrome, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. One thing that kind of shocked me, though, and I know that you can speak into this as well, is leaky gut and gut issues is directly correlated to thyroid issues. And I know that there's probably some people out there listening that have some major problems with their thyroids, which is affecting their hormones, which is affecting everything else. So how about you try speaking into that?
Well, it has to do with autoimmune. So what your body does is when you have leaky gut, it's your intestinal tract, like the outline of it should be nice and tight. So only certain things come in and only certain things go out. Like that's how your body communicates. And so what happens with leaky gut though is like medications, poor food diets, stress, all of that will start to make your intestinal permeability go like this. So then now where things that weren't ever supposed to go through start to go through. And so when your body has something going through that should never ever go through, your body is going to attack that and get rid of it. So that is how your body attacks different things. And your biggest thing that gets attacked primarily with autoimmune disorders is your thyroid, because it's constantly replicating. And so your body will think that something that is totally normal, but because of your intestines going out like this, there's things that are going through that are not supposed to be going through. So then your body will react to it, just like anything. So today, this is kind of how it works in your intestines. Today, I was supposed to go to the dentist. So I'm running late because that's just what happens with me. And so I'm
Go. There.
Okay.
Okay. So continue on with your story.
How far did I get to go?
Very far.
Okay. Well, so the way that the digestive system works is you eat something, and then what will happen is it's supposed to be broken down and it'll go into areas of your body to create that health. But what happens though is that when you start eating the bad things, not eating the right stuff, putting these things in your body that aren't supposed to be there, it's kind of like the traffic jam that was happening on the way to the dentist. So my husband, he goes on to 65, but what happens is he texts me and he says, hey, don't take 65, it's completely slammed. So I thought about that and I'm like, well, that's what the body does, is it'll send a signal to say, hey, there's something going on over here, either avoid that or go a different way. So I went a different way, and right as I got over the highway, there were these cars that were supposed to be like in the left lane. They were in the right lane. There was a car that was stopped. I was trying to get into the middle lane. So that's the way that the body works, is that they're always constantly cells trying to get to where they need to be. But then what happens is one breaks down. So then it backs everything up and then things start to go off where they shouldn't.
All right, good stuff. So what she's talking about is really understanding and knowing that your body it can break down. So we've got to figure out exactly what we have to do to not let that system break down, because once one thing breaks down, the whole entire system breaks down and it backs everything else up. And the relationship between your gut and your brain is, the problem is that the leaky gut it opens up a space and it allows toxins to get through there, and that goes into your bloodstream. And then through the bloodstream, it travels up to the blood-brain barrier, and then that's able to be crossed in there too. So now we're seeing heavy metals in there. Now we're seeing all kinds of toxins getting put into our brain cells. So that's why we're seeing a huge rise in Alzheimer's and things like that. So I want to talk about some things to really help heal the gut. And we've got to talk about what we can do. And one of my favorite things, I don't really normally take out products, but this is one of my favorite things. It's my Greens First here. And the reason why is because of probably 4 or 5 different things that's in there. We've got probiotics and we've got enzymes. Both of those things are what's going to help break down your food in the system. And then it's got licorice root. And the thing I love about licorice root is that it's really going to help balance your cortisol levels. It's going to help balance the acidity in your stomach. And it's also going to help heal the lining of your gut, which is what the problem is. It's going to sort of lubricate the gut in order to start healing again and not let it be so leaky anymore. Another thing that I love that's in here is quercetin, which helps to get the tight junctions back together again. Because what happens is, as you're eating the processed food, as you're eating the glyphosate and all the what are those called? Pesticides and all that stuff, it starts to break down the gut lining so that the tight junctions start to break apart. So this is what's going to help heal that and bring it back together and tighten that up, almost like a sewing machine putting things back together. So I love that. I think people should be drinking that every single day and really just start adding that into their system, and not just because it's going to help with your pH and not just because it's going to help with your immune system, but in order for you to start healing, you've got to address the issues in the gut, and the gut is where it's at, because I think it's somewhere between 80 and 95% of your immune system actually resides in the gut. And so if you don't have that figured out, then we've got some major problems. I want to go into a couple other things about healing and skin issues, and really just mainly detoxification. So we've got liver and we've got the gut, and those are 2 of the main things that people focus on when we do detoxes. One of my favorite things is bone broth, and I make bone broth and I drink it. I also use a bone broth collagen that I actually just put into my coffee. And so that's going to help heal the gut lining. It's going to help with my gut health. It helps with my skin. It helps make my hair better as well. And another thing that we love to do is coffee enemas. And I know that you've been wanting to talk about coffee enemas. So without getting too graphic about the whole situation, because I know you love your stories, Share with us your experiences with coffee enemas. I know that that's something that you do on a regular basis because you do struggle with gut issues and you're trying to heal your gut. So let's try to do that.
Okay, so I've been doing coffee enemas for almost 6 years now. I just started doing it every day for the last month or so because I was ready to step it up a notch. And the whole reason that Dr. Kalie actually introduced me to them and told me to start trying them. But it's kind of funny, like when you're doing an enema, you research it and you're like, why am I even really doing this? Because if you would have asked me 6 years ago, it was very hard for me to like go there with it. But the whole reason is because your gut, it's enterohepatic. So what happens is there's blood vessels that are connected right to your gallbladder and right to your liver. And it needs to be detoxed and it needs to be flushed. And by the way of doing a coffee enema, you are able to get up into, the coffee is able to come up and get into your liver, into your gallbladder and help to flush it out. It doesn't have the same effect that like drinking coffee does, where you get like a diuretic and you can go to the bathroom more regularly. It doesn't do that. So, but the biggest thing that I learned is over these last 5 years, I could really start to feel like cleaned out and cleansed out and getting my body to a good place where I could maintain that healthy eating, exercising, like everything that I'm doing is up to another level because my liver is getting flushed out, my gallbladder is getting flushed out. So now my body's able to emulsify fats. It's able to detox anything that could be coming in from pesticides that I may not know about or from our environment and the toxins coming in. It's just another way of allowing your body to do that.
Yeah, and that's so important to allow your body to heal. You've got to get the toxins out, and that's one of the number one ways in order to be able to do that and to get those toxins out. And it really helps to clear out bacteria. It helps to clear out heavy metals. It helps to clear out fungus, and it helps to clear out yeast. And if you can get a handle on all of those things, you're going to see some major, major, major changes in your health. I know that like Dr. Gerson uses this stuff in their clinic for fighting cancer, and that's been introduced, I think, since like the 1950s. I think they started to make it popular with that, and people have been using it ever since then. And it really just helps with any type of bloating that you have or anything like that. So Tammy wants to know where you get coffee enemas from. Nowadays, you can just order it right off of Amazon. But Cass, do you just use any old coffee?
No.
So talk to us about what type of coffee that you may be using.
So you absolutely want to make sure that it is organic. Coffee is one of the most pesticide-ridden things in the environment, so you have to make sure that it is 100% organic. If you want to go even farther, it needs to be mold-free. Sometimes that can happen in the coffee process of making it. Now, the other thing is not only the coffee, it's also your bucket. So you don't want a BPA-laden bucket because we know BPA in plastic is very toxic for the body. So you have to make sure that your bucket is either metal or it's BPA free. So then that way you're not reintroducing toxins into your body while you're trying to detox at the same exact time. And there's also a certain way to make your coffee. You can't just put it through a coffee maker. You really do need to make it on the stove. And there are so many directions of things online. And Dr. Kalie is amazing, and she can tell you and show you a way if you need to. And I can do the same.
I may even post a link on here later with instructions on how to do that. It's really simple. I think we do it a little bit different since we've been doing it. I do 16 ounces of water with coffee. I boil that, and then I add that to 16 ounces of water that's at room temperature. Make sure it's not scalding hot, and make sure it's not super cold. So you want it to be warm and not too much on either end. So there's kind of a happy medium with that. Otherwise, it's either going to burn or it's not really going to work. So you got to kind of find the happy medium there. And you can even probably go on YouTube and find awesome videos on how to exactly do a coffee enema. I use we can if you're a patient of ours and you want to do a coffee enema, let us know. We can get you the entire kit plus the coffee, and it's not expensive at all. And it really lasts forever. I've had that for a long time, and it works great. What else do you want to talk about? Wait, first of all, everybody like it, comment, add it, share it, tell your friends about it, put some people's names in here that need to hear it. Do you have any questions about gut health, about skin health, about healing, about anything that can come up in your mind? Real quick before we wrap it up, we're going to just hit a couple more topics here and then head out on the way. Cass, is there anything else you want to just hit on before we wrap it up?
No.
Okay, so I want to talk about the relationship between chiropractic and gut health, because we know that the power that made the body heals the body. We know that you have an amazing healing power that's already stored inside of you. Each and every single one of us has an innate ability to heal, and it's just a matter of if we're letting it. Just like you were talking about with your traffic jam, we've got to make sure that we get the traffic, the person that's causing the traffic jam out of the way, and then everything else starts to flow. Because you've ever been in a traffic jam and then you get to the front of it and you're like, why was there even a traffic jam? It wasn't even that big of a deal, right? So it can take just a little tiny bit of pressure that can set everything backed up, right? So what I'm talking about now is not your gut. I'm talking about your nervous system, because we know that the brain runs and controls every single system in your body. It uses the spinal cord to send messages, to communicate to the cells, the organs, and the tissues. And there's three really main areas of the central nervous system that your body uses. It's your brainstem, it's your spinal cord, and it's your nerve roots. We've got to make sure that our brainstem, spinal cord, and nerve roots have no pressure on there. And the way that we do that is we do it through what we call specific correction chiropractic care, because we want to make sure that as we're taking x-rays of your spine, we can see exactly where the damage is and exactly what to do to get that corrected. I see so many people coming in here with a loss of curve in their neck. There's pressure on their brainstem. Their spinal cords are being pulled. The nerve roots are being pinched, and their bodies just aren't healing. What happens when you lose the curve in your neck is that the rest of your body starts to shift to compensate and relax the spinal cord and the nervous system and the brainstem. And so then now we start to get scoliosis curves happening in our spines and all kinds of stuff. So, you've got to get the pressure off your nervous system. You've got to get the pressure off your brainstem. You've got to get the pressure off your spinal cord. Without that, anything else that we just talked about makes zero difference, because the system that's running and controlling all that other stuff is the system that's going to make you live your life at abundance. God does not make junk. Your body can heal. You need every single organ in your body. There wasn't just an extra organ that they put in there. It's there for a purpose. We just got to find out what's the interference that's blocking any healing. You got any words of wisdom for us there, Cass?
Absolutely. So when I first got my spine x-rayed, I had a curvature in my low back of 15 degrees where it should be 0. And I knew, though, in that moment that if I didn't, I could do all of the coffee enemas. I could do every single thing that I could imagine. I could clear my diet completely of anything processed, any sugars. I could do all of that. But I knew that my brain was never going to connect to my stomach and heal it at 100% if that curve was still there. So I did everything that I could. And that's one thing that I love about us, is that we would never ask anybody to do anything we've never done. Yeah. And when it comes first and foremost, we always look to our spines first to make sure that it is clear and that the brain is communicating with our bodies. So then that way, then you really start to do the eating. So then your body can take those foods and take them and bring them exactly where they need to be. And there's not like a cloudy wondering where I should go, but every single car is going where it needs to be. There's no traffic and everything runs. And then you have health and you have healing. For a long time.
And again, it's not a simple, this is going to be fixed tomorrow. Right. Especially if you're older, or even if you're our age or younger, there's been years of damage that has gone on in your system, years of poor decisions. And you start making good decisions over 2 months and expect everything to be perfect. For my mom, it took over a year for everything to start clearing up. And that was a painful year for her, most of which we didn't even know was happening, and so you've got to find the people that you can talk this through. And there's nothing, I'll find a new supplement, or I'll find a new way of doing things or something. And I do it myself before I ever even speak about it with my patients. And even if I do, I'm like, hey, I learned about, for me, it was bone broth. I learned about bone broth, but I don't have any information for you. I'm going to actually go ahead and start doing that this week and see what I feel and see what I experience. And I'll do that before I recommend anything on anybody. because that's just how I am. And we have to, you know, there's so many people out there that are like, oh, do this, this, and this, but I'm not going to do that. Right. And that's really what we're trying to do, is just recreate a culture of health and of healing and create this huge family. And that's what I love too, is that, you know, I'm here in St. Charles, Illinois, and you're there in Nashville, Tennessee. And I know that your people are getting the same care that my people are getting. And it's top-notch, high-quality care. And that's not a boastful statement. That's a statement of, hey, I know how you live. I get to talk to you every single day. I get to hear your struggles. I get to hear your successes. And we work through that. But you have to also develop a strong room. You've got to have people that are going to just really pour into you and not be afraid to say, hey, you're doing it wrong. You've got to make some changes. I mean, how many times are we like, okay, I'm going to send, you know, we're on the phone call or whatever. You know, it's fun. Like, it's me, her, and her husband that have a text message conversation. And we always constantly, you know, help each other out and try to figure stuff out, because it's a journey. And you're not going to end up somewhere. It's constant and never ending change. And you know, mindset is huge. You've got to first believe that you can do it if you're ever going to even attempt to do it. Because if you don't believe you can do it, nobody else is going to believe you can do it. And you will never achieve that, because you're going to give up. You're going to give in. You know, I was at a graduation party this weekend, and it was at a patient's house, and it was awesome, and it was fun. And, you know, I got there and it was like, oh no, Dr. Kalie's here. So everybody check their plate, you know, like, what are we eating? What are we doing? And so, you know, and I told them, I'm like, hey, I don't judge you. You know, I'm just here to give you the information. You get to do whatever you want with it. But at the same time, it's like, well, sometimes we got to just kind of live like a little Dr. Kalie's sitting on your plate, or is on your grocery cart, or is at home with you, or like, you know, that kind of stuff. And just like, have that mindset that there's somebody watching you. And then eventually what happens is that just becomes your normal, right? And you get through your little addictions, and you get through all your little stuff that you've got to get through. So anything else?
No, just love you. You're awesome.
I love you. I love you too so much. I'm excited. This was awesome. This was episode 3. This is all about gut health, all about skin care and skin problems. So one thing too is that your skin problems aren't necessarily a skin problem. Your skin problems are a gut problem, and you have to address the gut. We've got to get that figured out. So if you have questions, you can comment in the comments below. You can personal message myself, or you can personal message Dr. Cassie, and you can come into the office, ask us. You can even personal message Dr. James. He'll be back on next week. If you've got a topic that you want to learn about, or that you want us to cover, post it in the comments below. We would love to cover anything that we can for you guys. We just love you. I'm so thankful that you came on here today. I know it was short notice, but I think everybody had a great time, and they got to meet my best friend. So one thing I didn't tell you guys in the beginning is that Dr. Cassie and I have been best friends since we were 8 years old. So we've been dealing with each other for 23 years. And so somehow we've been blessed to be able to do the exact same things with our lives, and just really parallel each other's lives in that realm. So I'm so excited I got to do this video with you, Dr. Cassie. Make sure you give Dr. Michael a big hug for me, and peace out. We love you. Go glorify God today. Make it beautiful. Bye.